All right, welcome back for another episode of Reading Comics, this time with a little bit of whiskey. So I got my digital comic, and I got my glass here. So let's get to it. All right, so what happened in the first two issues of Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, is that a little girl had given him a baby, and she said that he was the savior of the world. And then Daredevil was visited by a older guy who said that that was actually the Antichrist. So he's been going back and forth with that. And then last issue, he kind of rattled. He was doing some more of that. And, in the first issue, his girlfriend left him. And that's how it started out, with this long-ass letter about how she loved him, but she wanted to go to California to get a job because apparently she doesn't know how jacked up California is. And then, so in the second issue, she actually came back. And at the very end, she was like, surprise, I have HIV, and you were my boyfriend on and off for a lot of years, so chances are you have it. Anyway, so let's get this one kicked off. First of all, I gotta say, I totally dig this cover. The superhero wrapped around a cross has always been good imagery. Batman, Spider-Man, Daredevil, they all do it. I think you could wrap Snoopy around a cross, and it would probably look pretty badass. So props to the cover artist. Also, if I didn't mention it, this whole storyline is written by Kevin Smith, the guy who did Clerks and all that other shit. All right, let's go. So the first page here is basically just a recap. Daredevil is basically talking about how this was his girl, and they've gone through a lot of shit together, and now she's just had a really messed up life, and a lot of it's self-induced. It's a lot of reading. That's a lot of reading. So let's get to the other stuff. Now, he's in his office. Well, he's in a detective interview room here, and you can see he's standing over here, and then Foggy gets brought in by these two cops, and we're not really sure what's going on because nothing had happened to him yet. So Foggy, who's got these scratches on his face, proceeds to tell Daredevil that he took this rich client out the night before, and they had dinner and stuff, and then they ended up going to her place, and then he's doing the old post-dinner sneak in here. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of kissing and hot, getting hot and heavy, she turns into what happens when you get married. This thing right here with the tongue and the teeth. So that obviously was not part of his plan. So she scratches his face, and then for reasons unknown, jumps out a window. And like all good werewolf movies, when old Nipples McGee here looks out the window, he sees Mr. Clean looking over this chick who's dead, and they all look back at him like, what did you do? So, of course, he gets on the phone and ends up getting arrested because now they think that Foggy tossed her ass out the window wearing a sheet. I don't know why you'd be wearing a sheet. And then he also tells Daredevil that he's sad because he cheated on his girlfriend, and he doesn't know what to say. So the moral of the story is, do not cheat with lizard people because only bad things will happen. So Daredevil decides to go talk to Foggy's mom, which is this girl who reminds me of Sterling Archer's mom. And he says, hey, we need to defend this guy. And she's like, nope, I'm not going to defend him because it's going to bring bad shit on my firm. And then we cut back to Karen Page here, who's smoking a cigarette. And I don't know, it just reminds me of if you go to space number 37 at the Woodwinds mobile home park and knocked on the door, this is what would answer right here. This with the cigarette and the Everlast boxing shorts. So she gets a knock on the door, and it's the old guy again. And we'll be back up there. So he just introduces himself. Then we cut back to Daredevil getting mad because now Foggy's mom is saying, hey, we're going to fire this dude. And he's like, what the hell? What are you talking about? That's some bullshit. He's your kid. And she goes on to explain that, again, it looks bad for the firm, and she's not going to have any of it, so they're going to cut ties so they can keep doing the lucrative business that they have been doing. So, and of course at the top she's trying to be all like, oh, it hurts my feelings, whatever, but Matt's like, you know what, screw it, you're betraying him, I'll represent him, and she's like, I don't think so, but then at the very bottom he says, well, guess what, I quit, and slams the door. And then he goes out and he does some rooftop jumping, but as we can see, he's being followed by this car, which I would imagine has to be freaking hard in New York. Like, how do you follow somebody in a car and they're jumping from rooftop to rooftop. That shit cannot be easy. So he hears a chick screaming and decides to do this cool little flip, which I like that pose right there. That's pretty badass. And if this was 3D, then this baton throw would be, well, it almost looks like a silver bullet, if you know what that is. So hopefully he's not throwing dildos at people. Anyways, so he sees this chick right here who's getting mugged by this dumbass with a gun. And again, this is another cool little pose right here. I just love the art of Daredevil. I think they do great work. And he plants the 2-footer on the back of that guy's dome. And all of a sudden gets shot in the back of the head with like a rubber bullet or something like that. And then we cut back to this guy. I'm sorry. This guy kind of reminds me of what an Oompa Loompa would look like, as an old Oompa Loompa. But he goes through this whole spiel about how, how basically her life is going to shit and it's the kid's fault. So he's blaming the baby essentially for the fact that she has AIDS. And he just explains to her or she tells him look, I've been kind of loose with my vagina and I've also been a junkie and I could have gotten AIDS 1,000 times. Hold on a second, get a drink here. I could have gotten AIDS 1,000 times over. And then she tells him that she got tested every 6 months and it never came up. And then he says, well, why do you think it came up now? It's because of the kid. And she's like, well, I'm not going to go kill a kid because that's just not what I do. And he says, okay, well, whatever. If that's what you're going to do, then that's what you're going to do. But you might want to think about the person that you love. And then at the bottom, she's like, Matt. But again, if she has AIDS or HIV, then she probably would have, him having it would have been a possibility from the get-go. So I don't know why that's even a surprise. It never occurred to her, oh shit, Matt has put his penis in me, therefore he should probably have it too. Daredevil's knocked the hell out, and he's in this white room, and there's this noise, this buzzing that throws off his radar sense, so he can't get focused on anything. But through that, he does manage to find a door, and once he goes inside, he hears this just crazy angelic screaming that basically just cripples him and messes up all of his heightened senses. So this big goon right here walks in with his bowl haircut and tells him, look, we don't want to do this, but we need to get our mitts on this kid because we need to protect him. So you can see he's in a lot of pain here. And then he just basically goes over you've done the honorable thing in the past and, you're all in the hero business and whatnot. So you bringing the kid to us for the kid's protection shouldn't be a big deal. And all this time, Matt is sitting there thinking, okay, well, this noise is on a loop because he picked up the gap in the loop. And if he knows it's on a loop, then he can focus on where it's coming from. And that's what this little box is right here. This little box right here, the Bose speaker. So the dude keeps talking, but he keeps focusing here. And the goon says, look, we don't want to detain you. All we want is just tell us where the kid is at. And then Matt's like, hold on. And then he throws his silver bullet again and hits the speaker. And his response is great. Oh no. He's like, oh shit, my ass is about to get beat down. And that's exactly what happens. He goes in there and just starts throttling him. But then these other two monkeys jump in and they start, hitting him and shit. So Matt does the old bat kick and, they're going to try to shoot him. But goon number one is like, no, we can't. We're not trying to kill him, so put your guns down. So he jumps out the window, still disoriented and messed up from the noise. His radar sense and all that hasn't returned. And he lands right in front of a truck that is going to bean him. And then, boom, that's the end. So that's issue number 3 of Daredevil. I'll be knocking out issue number 4 here pretty quick because this story arc only has a couple more issues and then we're going to get on to another title. Anyways, thanks for joining me. You guys are awesome and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, hit me up. So take care, world.